You don't need the noise, the hype, the dramatic spotlight. You've outgrown all that. You've traded in the superficial for the substance, the short-term thrill for the long-term kill. When others collapsed under pressure, you grew under it. Not out of luck, not out of some divine alignment, but because you made a pact in silence, a contract only you would ever understand, one built on repetition, obsession, resolve. Every brick in your foundation was laid without applause, without validation, without a single hand reaching out to pull you forward. And that's why you don't break. That's why you can't break. Because no one gave this to you. You took it. They'll say you were built different. But that's just the narrative they'll cling to so they can sleep at night. Because the truth is too terrifying. The truth is, you're not special. You're not chosen. You're relentless. And that's something they'll never replicate. You made every decision count, every ignored whisper, every unanswered doubt, every early hour that felt like punishment. Those weren't sacrifices. Those were investments. You turned discipline into ritual. You carved certainty out of chaos. While they needed a reason to act, you moved without one. You moved because that's who you became. You didn't wait to be ready. You just stayed ready. You didn't rise to the moment. You fell back on preparation. You didn't flinch at resistance. You turned it into fuel. You didn't pray for peace. You learned how to move through war like it was home. And that's why now, while the world burns itself out with distractions, with shortcuts, with empty validation, you walk through the noise untouched. Not because you're blind to it, but because you're immune to it. Your focus is forged, not found. Your path is earned, not inherited. The storm doesn't move you. You are the one giving it direction. Let them gossip. Let them chase inspiration like it's oxygen. Let them romanticize the grind they only flirt with when it's fashionable. You're already too far gone for them to catch. You passed motivation miles ago and buried it. What fuels you now is something darker, deeper. Something that doesn't ask for approval. Something that becomes the standard in a world full of excuses. And when they finally see you rise, when they try to reverse engineer your process, they'll fail. Because it wasn't the result that made you different. It was the refusal to stop when no one was watching. You didn't just build something. You became something. Something methodical. Something inevitable. You're no longer playing the game, they just haven't realized you already rewrote the rules. So when they come for what you've built, hoping to steal a spark, don't give them a speech. Don't offer a quote. Don't show them the blade. Just move and let them feel it. Let them feel the weight of every unseen moment, the pressure of every silent battle you already won. This is the cost of discipline, the unseen tax on greatness. And you paid it in full. Without asking, but without flinching. That's why they'll call it fate. That's why they'll say you were chosen. But you'll know the truth. You weren't chosen. You chose. You chose the dark, the cold, the unseen roads. You chose the repetition that turned pain into process, the solitude that hardened your mind, the hunger that no comfort could kill. You weren't searching for balance, you were chasing domination. While they waited for clarity, you created certainty. While they hoped for a sign, you became the signal. And now you don't explain, you don't justify. You don't negotiate with mediocrity. You just walk shoulders steady, vision fixed because your presence is the answer. They don't know what it cost, and they never will. They only see the shine, never the sharpening. They only see the rise, not the rebirths. But that's fine, because you didn't do this for attention. You didn't build for applause. You built because something inside you refused to be average, refused to be fragile, refused to live life on its knees, begging for peace in a world that only respects power. And that your power didn't come from noise. It came from the silence you mastered, or from the demons you outlasted, from the scars you wore like armor while they decorated themselves in comfort. So now you stand not louder, but heavier, not faster, but unshakable. Because every ounce of you was forged, not gifted. The discipline didn't just protect you, it transformed you. And in that transformation, you became untouchable. The kind of untouchable that doesn't scream. The kind that just shows up, delivers, and leaves them wondering how they never saw it coming. But that's the point, isn't it? You weren't meant to be seen, you were meant to be felt. And they feel you now. Every breath, every step, every move calibrated like a sniper round. While they panic, you pace. While they crumble, you calculate. And when they run, you remain rooted, ruthless, ready. You don't just survive anymore, you dominate. Not because you have more, but because you need less. Less praise, less comfort, less reason. You've become pure execution. And when the storm hits, and it will, you won't bend. You won't break. You'll stand in the center like you always have. Not because you're fearless, but because your fear learned to obey. This is your arena now. The world is your canvas, and discipline is the brush. Every move you make paints a picture they'll try and copy, but they can't. Because this masterpiece wasn't made for them. It was made in spite of them. You didn't become this by chance, you became this by choice. And that's why you'll win. Again, and again, and again. You'll win because losing was never part of your blueprint. Setbacks, sure, pain, absolutely, but quitting, that never even made it to the table. You weren't sculpted in ease. You were built in resistance, in the suffocating silence of self-doubt, in the gravity of repetition that broke weaker minds. And every time it got heavier, you didn't collapse. You grew under it. Pressure didn't crush you. It clarified you. It revealed the version of yourself even you didn't know existed, ruthless, methodical, unrelenting. So now when they stare, trying to figure you out, trying to decode the glitch in their system, you don't blink. Because while they studied trends, you studied yourself. While they adjusted their pace to fit in, you rewrote your rhythm until the beat broke the mold. You're not here to fit, you're here to fracture. You're not a part of their formula, you're the variable they never accounted for. And now their systems fail when you enter the room. Now their confidence wavers in your presence. Now their noise dies in the silence you bring. And the silence, that's still your greatest ally. Because you never needed to scream to be heard. You just moved with intention, moved with certainty. Moved like every step was pre-decided by something greater than fate, by discipline itself. It wasn't luck, it wasn't magic. It was blood, sweat, and 10,000 choices when no one was watching. That's what scares them now. Because deep down they know what you've built can't be taken, copied, or bought. It can only be earned. And when they come crawling for the answer, begging for the formula, you won't give them the secret. Because there is no secret. There's just the work, the grind, the commitment. The moments when you were exhausted but showed up anyway. The mornings when the weight of the world told you not today, and you said, "Watch me." You didn't just build strength, you became the standard. And that's why you walk differently now. Not arrogantly, assuredly. Because you don't hope anymore, you know. And that knowing, that's your superpower. That's the edge no one can steal. The world will try to replicate your result, but they'll never replicate your resolve. Because when they were chasing comfort, you were chasing confrontation. You didn't just endure the storm, you became the command inside it. Not to prove anything, but because you knew the truth. Comfort never built kings. Chaos did, and you were born of it. Like, comment, and subscribe.